Hello and welcome. I'm Jennifer Shlomovich, and this is The Confident Vegan. On this channel, you'll find insightful interviews with inspiring vegans, practical tips for plant-based living, and empowering conversations about what it really means to live in alignment with your values. I am also the co-host of That Vegan Morning Show with Kimberly Winters of the Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. You can start your day the vegan way and watch us live every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern on YouTube at That Vegan Morning Show. Today, my special guest is Pragya Thakur. Pragya is a national board certified health and wellness coach, Upbuild-trained life coach, and MPH candidate at Boston University, studying lifestyle medicine, food policy, and environmental health. She's also a published writer whose work has appeared in the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Law Journal newsletter, and the National Health Association's magazine, Health Sciences, where she wrote beautifully about Dr. Ron Weiss's visionary work at Ethos Farm Project. Before entering the wellness world, Pragya spent 30 years in the magazine industry analyzing complex systems, skills that now shape how she coaches clients through sustainable lifestyle change. She's the author of In Pursuit of Wellness, A Patient's Perspective, and creator of the Substack newsletter From Soil to Soul. As a coach specializing in plant forward transitions, Pragya brings both evidence-based methodology and what she calls systems thinking to behavior change. She's also certified to teach yoga for osteoporosis and draws on her Indian heritage to bring cultural perspectives on plant-centered eating. Pragya is a former executive director of Ethos Farm to Health and a key organizer of farm days at Ethos. You can also hear from her if you subscribe to Ethos quarterly newsletter, Seedlings. Welcome, Pragya.
Hi, nice to be here, Jennifer.
Nice to have you here. I'm so happy that Kimberly connected us. And yeah, and you've done so much amazing work already, and you are all about things that I am so passionate about. So I am
Yeah.
so excited to have this conversation with you. And one of the first questions I ask my guests is, what is your vegan story?
So that's I'm always amazed that I'm now so passionate about being a vegan. And when I look back, that there was a time when I was eating everything. Like I remember a trip to Spain where I was eating this black paella, which was made in squid ink. And
Mm,
now I cringe at these thoughts.
yeah,
It's like,
I know what you mean.
yeah.
But when you look back and you're like, how did I eat that?
How did I eat that? And yeah, also in Spain they were serving shrimp which still had the eyes on them, and I'm like,
Oh,
this has a face. And- but yeah, that all went away for the most part. In 2014, I stopped eating red meat and chicken and all of this other stuff because like a lot of people who I've spoken to, those animal cruelty videos showed up in my socials and the media that I was absorbing, and I was just so taken aback and in tears that all of this was happening. Um,
yeah.
the video focused, it was a documentary. I don't know what it was that I watched, but it was a documentary on DuPont, North Carolina, where there are these hog farms, and there's a neighborhood around it where these farms like spray things onto their clothing, drying on their lines, and respiratory problems for people. And it's like
Hmm.
this thing is just having such a widespread impact. Not to mention, like, that's the first thing, how cruelly those animals are treated. And then the aura of it spreading to humans. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. So that's when I just one day said, I'm not eating any meat anymore, and much to the chagrin of my family. Uh, but for whatever warped logic there was at that time, I was still eating eggs and fish because the cruelty that happens in those worlds hadn't really sunk in yet with, you know, the chickens, the egg industry, all of the, the little baby chicks being thrown into a shredder and all of that. I didn't know that yet. So still eating eggs and
Yeah.
still consuming dairy. And in 2018 is when I came across Dr. Weiss at Ethos, and I went in as a patient because I was struggling with so many, standard chronic trifecta of chronic illnesses, blood pressure and prediabetes and cholesterol and all of that. And I also had a really uh, tough eczema condition on my forearm, which I'd seen so many dermatologists about it and no answers. They just sent me away with, ointments or just take an oatmeal bath or something, and nothing worked. So when I saw Dr. Weiss for all these other conditions, and we saw my eczema, and he said, "So you are ovo pescatarian. Um, why don't you just try giving up eggs and fish?" Um, for a week and let's see what happens. And I said, sure, at this point, I'm willing to try anything. And I gave all of that up. And this condition magically cleared up as if I had never had it. It's like, oh, where's my eczema? There's like nothing on my arm anymore. And of course, and then through a plan for the other chronic illnesses, just getting on a 30-day program of just eating dark leafy greens, and um, their 30-day detox program. Uh, it just reversed so many. The weight loss was obvious, but then all these conditions went away as if I was 20 years younger. So at that point, there were no doubts in my mind. The thing that partially started in 2014 just became so concrete by 2018 that I just didn't see any reason to consume any animal products anymore. And and just no turning back after that, because the benefits are just so widespread in the world, in your health, and just in general. The impact from switching to plants is so huge that I'm just surprised that more people don't realize this.
Yeah, I can relate so much to your story.
Yeah.
It was around 2014 for me as well, where I was struggling with rosacea and eczema flare-ups, and I was really desperate at that point, especially like with the rosacea, because it's like right on your face, so visible. And I was looking up different things about it, and I discovered how like certain foods can trigger outbreaks. And it started making me pay attention, like, oh yeah, if I eat a certain thing, like my face will get inflamed if I eat it. Like I started paying attention that it wasn't just randomly happening, right? It was like tied in with foods. And I saw how like dairy and was one of those culprits. And so I did a 30-day experiment of giving up dairy.
Mhm.
And I, within like the first like week or two, I would say like a week and a half, I noticed a dramatic difference in my skin looking better, but also feeling better. Like I
Yeah.
realized how dairy was impacting my sinuses, right? Like you're dealing with all this mucus, and my sinuses were better. And I just felt this like overall sense of well-being that I didn't experience before. Like you don't realize how crappy you feel until you remove the thing, because that's like your
Yeah.
right? It's your normal operating system until you remove it, and then you're like, wow, I just felt better.
Yeah, you almost
And
feel like you're lit up from the inside when,
yeah,
it's
that's a
such
great,
a
I
great
love how you said that.
thing.
Exactly. You feel like you're lit up from the inside. And I started looking up dairy-free recipes, and a lot of vegan recipes popped up. And I was like, wow, this food looks more exciting than what I'm making as, a non-vegan, right? And there's all these colors and just creative ways of making desserts. I discovered forks over knives, which is all about whole food, plant-based eating, and heart disease and diabetes is in my family. My mother died from a heart attack in 2007. So I wanted to take better care of myself as I aged because I saw my parents' genetics and I knew what I would be in for if I didn't start doing something about it now. And so it started this journey of going down this rabbit hole of discovering vegan food and especially the healthy types of it, because there's the vegan lifestyle for ethical reasons. And then there's the health part, which is like the plant-based part of it. And so for at first it started for health. And then after that 30 days, I was like with a friend and I had like some frozen yogurt. And I instantly felt I didn't feel great after eating it. I
Yeah.
felt my skin was getting itchy and I just felt that like the inside.
Yeah.
And so that started my journey of, it took me like 2 years to become vegan, but that's planted the seeds. And then I started getting cookbooks. My family I knew would never want to go vegan, but I
Yeah.
started just focusing on me. And then gradually I was like pescatarian for a bit. And then I went vegan for like a couple months. And then I was having some health stuff. And the doctor told me to have fish. So at that time, I went back to fish.
Yeah.
And then I would say a couple months of after going back to fish, I just developed an aversion to it. My soul was screaming at me to just give it all back. So since April of 2017, I've been committed to being vegan. And it was a documentary that made me start paying it like you know where your food's coming from that we don't think about it, right? It's that cognitive
Yeah.
dissonance that we all have because we're all raised to find these things acceptable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially too with culture, there's a lot of culture tied in with food and a lot of it has animal products, but now, you can still honor your culture and religion and whatever's important to you. You can still honor those things without the animal products. And
Yeah. Being vegan doesn't clash with any major religion in the world.
yeah, if
Like,
anything, it supports it,
yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
the foundation for most religions is peace,
Yeah.
right? Like that there's a peaceful element to it. Um, and what's more peaceful than not eating an animal that died
Yeah.
and had to suffer in the process?
Like the Seventh-day Adventists, they're like Loma Linda, California. It's a blue
Hmm.
zone because, they're not eating anything, any meats for religious reasons, and they're doing so well with their health.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's interesting how our journeys are very similar, where it started off with the health and then it just opens up all these other doors. And I always tell people, you know, just try it. Like do it as an experiment, right? Because you're not committing to anything, right? And also you got to give yourself time to change, right? Because we've been programmed to think a certain way. So, since living this way, what other health benefits have you experienced?
So some things are so subtle, but when I think
Hmm.
about it, I notice it. People 10 years younger than me, without disclosing how old I am, I see them using reading glasses uh, you know, for, I always see the reading glasses on them. I have not needed them yet, and I'm well into my 50s, and I
Oh,
don't
wow.
need glasses. And uh, same thing with things like um, going on steep hikes or I see people my age having trouble going up and down stairs.
Hmm.
I can run up and down. I can skip stairs and it's just it's like when I saw people who were the age I am now before, they couldn't do any of these things. Like they looked old, and
Yeah,
I don't feel my age. I think that's a big benefit of how I'm eating because I can still do this without jinxing anything, the same things I was able to do 20 years ago with ease. So
that's great. Yeah, and I think too, because a lot of animal products trigger inflammation in the body,
yeah,
right? And there's so much like, and there's this misconception that like, oh, chicken, it's natural, right? And beef, it's natural. But first of all, a lot of farmers use antibiotics,
yeah,
right? And even if they don't, because there's some that are labeled that way, um, you're still eating the stress hormones from the animals and the horrible conditions that they are kept in. And then, of course, there's the whole argument on the humanely raised. But again, you're raising something to slaughter it, to eat
yeah.
it. And that process to being slaughtered is still very stressful. So there's nothing really energetically good about any of it.
And they know it. Those animals know it
Yeah.
when the hangman is standing there. They know it. They
Yeah.
and you're ingesting all of these hormones they secreted at the time of their death. Now you're taking them in. It's
Right.
you gotta
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah. It's something that definitely opened up my eyes. And so all of these things trigger inflammation. Like over the summer, I read Dr. Greger's book, How Not to Die, and by Dr. Michael Greger. And it is so, I listened to the audiobook, and he is so fun to listen to. And
Yeah,
it is such, I never thought I would, because it's a really big book and it's filled with
yeah,
all kinds of nutritional stuff, but the way he breaks it down is so like it's like it really grabs your attention. It's not a boring nutrition book,
yeah,
but literally there's no, we've been fed a lot of lies about nutrition
yeah,
and what's been healthy, and a lot of industries, right, are fun. It's like you have to really do your research, right? A lot of these industries are funded by people who benefit from them doing well, and so they'll over exaggerate something to make it sound like it's super healthy
yeah.
when it's not the case.
And that's even an understatement that they over-exert. That's not all they
Yeah.
do. Of course, they do that, but it's more insidious and layered than that
Hmm.
because, recently beef tallow has come in vogue again. People want to cook in beef tallow or lard,
Oh, really?
and and they don't want, and they're making seed oils the villain.
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. I always hear about the
I
seed oils being vilified.
Yeah, and I'm SOS free. I don't I follow Dr. Weiss's advice, so I don't do oil. But for those who are still doing oil, I would rather you consume seed oils than beef tallow. Come on. It's like common sense. And the whole beef tallow thing, to your point, happened 5 years ago on a Joe Rogan show. Joe Rogan
Mm,
had guests on his podcast who said that people should cook in beef tallow. But if you dig into those guests, you find out that they are manufacturers of products like beef jerky and other beef products. So it's so much in their interest to say this on a
yeah.
nationally recognized podcast. People don't know that this guy is and his partner are in it to, to benefit their company and their business.
Hmm.
And now it's like a, snowball effect of everybody, that restaurant, Steak and Shake, saying they'll cook everything in beef tallow from now on. And the entire state of Louisiana has banned seed oils in favor of beef tallow, as if Louisiana didn't have enough,
Wow.
obesity problems to begin with.
Well, to add to that point, I haven't even heard about the beef tallow um being promoted again. But I've had heard, like the trend. I've seen the videos about people eating butter, like, promoting how butter is healthier for you, and eating the steak. Like there's always these like TikTok videos out there, right? These
Yeah,
health influencers who are like, I'm healthy by eating all of this stuff, right? And we have, you know, again, people like that, you have to like do your research,
Mhm.
right? And I've listened to Joe Rogan before and have disagreed a lot with whenever he talks about like nutrition stuff, for example, and he's had guests talk about it on there. And it's very frustrating, right? Because again, people are just listening to someone and they're like, "Oh, this person must know what they're talking about," right?
Yeah, well, they are just supporting their own interests.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. And you have to do your due diligence.
yeah,
And for example, so to build to your point, like the Beyond Burgers, right? Or any of the other plant burgers that get criticized, right? Because, you know, people are like, well, it's made from this, it's made from that, right? And again, though, if you look at the ingredients, um, and you look at what that can do to your body versus what a beef burger can do to your body,
yeah,
right? The beef burger is worse for you than
absolutely.
whatever, you know, vegan, burger that you get. And one of the things that I always say when people start that, I'm the only vegan in my family. My immediate family is supportive, but I have other family members who try to challenge me on things.
Wow.
As what will happen when you become vegan.
Yeah.
And um, and what I always say is, well, just like, you know, you can eat as healthy or as unhealthy as you want on a vegan diet, just like you can eat as healthy or as unhealthy as you want not being vegan.
Yeah.
And just like you want your hamburgers, your cheeseburgers, your pizza, your ice cream as a treat, vegans want those same things, but they want it without the cruelty. And so it's like vegans get shamed because they're not healthy 24/7, but neither are the non-vegans, right? Like,
Or worse.
right.
Yeah,
They're in worse shape than we are. And I think if anything, we become more mindful about nutrition.
yeah,
And so there's a lot of I feel like this could be a whole other topic in itself.
I
Um,
know.
because it's such a charged
There
and
is so much to be
frustrating.
said. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Can you share a little bit more about Ethos Farms and what the work is that they're doing? Because I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah.
Their produce is the most beautiful produce I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna edit. I have some photos because the two times I've gone, I've had to take pictures of the produce. It's so beautiful. So I'm gonna edit some of those photos in our conversation when I
Yeah.
release it because I think people need to see how beautiful the produce is.
Yeah, it looks totally different from anything you see in supermarkets. Like at first,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen carrots looking so lovely, or, how great turnips, or even names of greens I'd never heard before, like tatsoi, and, all these
Hmm.
exotic sounding fancy names, and the display just looks amazing. There is not just, so Dr. Weiss has this very, impressive philosophy, medicine from the ground up. And that's what
Mm,
he's delivering. Medicine. Food is medicine, of
love it.
course, but he's delivering it from the ground up, which means soil health, uh, uh, agricultural practices that don't harm anything, not in the soil, not in the environment, no pesticides. So if you've been there, you've seen how there's a Raritan River stream that runs through the property.
Hmm.
When Dr. Weiss acquired the 342 acres in around 2012, um, prior to his acquisition of the farm, that was a conventional GMO corn and soy production where they were growing corn and soy for the consumption of concentrated animal feeding operations, or CAFOs.
Oh, wow.
So there was so much fertilizer and all of this traditional way of farming happening that stream had no life in it. There were
Oh,
no
wow.
It was nothing, it was dead. And, all of this runoff is going into this Raritan River stream, which is like a major water supply for Long Valley, New Jersey. And so when he, so over since 2012, he has changed it so much that, kids from kids come from trips like the Raritan River, Raritan, I'm forgetting the name, Headwaters Association, a nonprofit.
Okay.
They always bring kids on a trip to the farm. And they've come on farm days too, and they like to, find salamanders or little fishes and things that weren't there before, have now shown up because the water runs clear. So there's no more fertilizers or toxic things going in anymore. So life has returned to the farm. There's at night, the cameras capture bobcats and all of these other animals in the forest. Like
Oh,
they
nice.
know to come back. So biodiversity is huge now on the farm. And uh, the 170 acres of the farm are is where Dr. Weiss decided to grow warm season grasses like rye. And what's special about rye and other warm season grasses is that their roots go down into the soil 12 to 16 feet deep,
Oh, wow.
and they sequester carbon. So 170 acres of the farm is a carbon sequestration project. And
Oh,
about
wow.
800 metric tons of carbon are approximately sequestered rather than going back in the atmosphere in those. And the other thing that I noticed in my time there was that soil. Uh, there are pictures of, Rodale scientists collected soil samples from 12 years ago, and it was hard reddish clay, which is like the most horrible kind of soil.
Mm-hmm.
Good soil where healthy things grow has to be airy and, fluffy. So what these roots do, the long, deep roots that sequester carbon, the soil scientists who returned later saw how different the soil texture was. Like it's totally transformed. And
Wow.
this is the kind of thing that seeps into the produce that you get at the doctor's farm market when the farm's in season. That's why it's so flavorful and so, you're consuming health um, when you buy from the doctor's farm market. So that's great. You go there as a patient, you come out of the doctor's office and there's the farm looking at you and you're like, it truly is medicine from the ground up. And there are so many other stories like how biodiversity, like some of their practices, like if you do a farm walk, they might point to kestrel boxes, like bird boxes where kestrels are attracted to come in, these birds. And what kestrels do is they zoom in and they see like the rainbow of colors in the urine of like voles and other animals that harm crops. And they just dive and they get the vole and
Oh, wow.
so now you don't need pesticides because nature's taking care of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's like,
and that's the way it should be, right? We should just leave things to their natural ecosystem. And, like you were mentioning before at the beginning of our conversation about, the what's happening in North Carolina with the pig farms. I have seen this mentioned as well in other documentaries, and it is horrifying what people are subjected to just trying to live their lives, and they can't even have their windows open to let air in because the air is poison, right?
yeah,
And this is getting sprayed everywhere. And there's a really terrible environmental impact from animal agriculture because all of the waste, all their bathroom waste poisons waterways. You hear about E. coli outbreaks from time to time, right? That happen.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
because, things seep into crops and it's, and then there's this argument, well, what's going to happen if, we don't if we don't eat the animals, right? Then they're going to take over the world. But no, because they're being raised specifically for that. So if you just let things be,
They'll find their way.
They'll
Nature finds.
find their way and things will, and the earth will restore back to a balanced population
Yeah.
eventually, because we're not raising such a large volume to feed the population anymore.
And the cattle farming is what creates so much greenhouse gases, the methane
Hmm.
from these cattle farms.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Ethos Farm to Health is a really great place. I've been there a couple times. I'm
But it's
gonna,
like an oasis. All of these other places you mentioned are like where you're not getting health from the ground up, and in
yeah.
this little valley, you're getting health from the ground up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to include some photos in our conversation here. And I'm also going to include the link below in the video notes below to Ethos Farm to Health because they have events there. Kimberly has done events there. Kimberly, who does the Did You Bring the Hummus podcast, who is also my co-host on that vegan morning show. She's done some wonderful events there as well. So I highly recommend if you live in near New Jersey or you plan on traveling through New Jersey, Ethos Farm to Health is a wonderful place to visit. And I've never seen produce as beautiful. I bought a bunch of beets there, and they were the most beautiful, delicious beets I've ever had. So,
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
um, I wanted to shift our conversation a little bit to challenges as a vegan. What are some challenges that you've experienced as a vegan, and how have you ever overcome those challenges?
So this is something that really I'll in all humility, it takes a while to master
Hmm.
this, how to be um a confident vegan to mention the name of your show here. It takes a lot of planning and organization. Of course, starting from shopping the periphery at grocery stores, reading labels, clearing out your pantry, um, spending a lot of time with food prep, and not this famous vegan chef who has a show that Dr. Weiss goes on, Chef AJ. I think she's the one who said, if it's in the house, it's in the mouth. So, no. So that's just not, that's, in general, being trying to eat healthy, not just vegan. Just don't bring stuff that could tempt you. So,
Yeah.
stock entry in the right way. So all of this I'm saying is what you must do, and it's also the biggest challenge because this takes up considerable time on your calendar. So you have to make a commitment to doing it, and that's taken me years to get to a place where, I'm uh, diligent about it. In the beginning, it's like, I'll let it slide, and cheat a little here and there, and never straying back into being non-vegan, but leaning more towards junk food. And it's if when you're whole food plant-based, you don't want anything processed because that's all of these processed ingredients are also
Hmm.
messing with your system, even if they're, labeled vegan. So yeah, that's
That's good advice.
good challenge to overcome, to really focus on your pantry and your refrigerator, and use the weekend wisely for food prep and storing things, like do your shopping for produce at Ethos, but right away ensure that you chop it up, wash it, put it in containers, and so it doesn't go to waste, and consume it over the week as your schedule permits. But that is challenging.
Yeah, I can relate to, what you said too. Like for me, it's not that anything that's non-vegan in my house, I'm not tempted by. But if there's a vegan treat in the house, like
Yeah.
Oreos are vegan. So if
Yeah,
there's Oreos
exactly.
in the house and I've had a stressful day, I might end up eating a sleeve of them, like a row of them, right?
Yeah, that's
And
you're still being vegan, but you're not necessarily being kind to your system.
Exactly. And so what I've been trying to do is striking a balance. I've been eating mostly whole food plant-based, and then when we like if we go out to eat and I go someplace where there's vegan food, I might have something with oil in it but I try to eat as healthy as possible within it. Like if I'll get like a salad or like a bowl or something, and they have like a really tasty vinaigrette that's vegan that has oil in it, but at least and I'll get it on the side so I'm not like saturating it, so I'm getting the flavor. So I'll do little things like that. Sometimes I go to a vegan restaurant and we'll enjoy something and have the treats, and I think it's all in moderation. So I try to be like 80% whole food plant-based, even 90%, I would say. And then when it comes to like a social setting, it's trying to be as healthy as possible, but what? I'm gonna give myself this enjoyment. But if I had vegan treats in the house, I would have no willpower. So
Yeah,
I try not to. My husband and son, they're not vegan, so they're treats that they have. I mean, my son likes chips. He's 20, so he likes certain chips and stuff. And some of them are vegan, but I've been good at because I've been trying to, you know, I have to do some work because I did gained weight a couple years ago that I need to work on getting off. And so I've been focusing back on my health and eating better and exercising more. So I've been able to stay away from the chips and things
yeah.
like that. But like where I get in trouble is like vegan cookies, ice cream, like the dessert, like the sweet stuff.
It
That's
tastes good.
harder for me to like say. So I try to have more fruit
Yeah.
around. Like if I'm really craving something decadent, I'll have an apple with some almond butter because at least it's still tasty, and I'll sprinkle some cinnamon on it because it's the flavors. And so one of the things that I like to tell people is think about the flavors, the cravings that you have.
Yeah.
What's a healthy substitute for that, right? Like, and there's in whole food plant-based, there are so many delicious desserts that you can find that you can make, that there's
Yeah.
so much creativity where you can still have your treats. You can still have cookies and cakes. They're just made with better ingredients.
Yeah, that and people don't realize how tasty some of this stuff can be. Like, um, you don't even miss the salt because a lot of things like spinach is so high in sodium when you
Oh,
cook.
really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And there's um I was gonna say about the challenges, as a vegan, the question that we get the most is where do you get your protein? So,
Yeah.
and most people think that would be a vegan challenge, but you need your protein. There's no doubt about that. But protein exists in plant sources. Where do
Yeah.
gorillas and horses and elephants get their protein? They're these big creatures and they are very protein driven animals. So the only thing I wanted to say about overcoming that challenge is everything everything either comes with how many grams of protein are in it. So
Mm-hmm.
vigilant about that, know how much protein you require in a day and track it and look up online how much protein is in the plant things you're eating and you'll be surprised. Like I use the food app chronometer to log food sometimes, and all I've eaten is plants all day and the protein bar is like through the roof. I'm like, I didn't have to consume any animals to get this protein that I need. uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. Again, and there's these old food myths
yeah.
that I mean, more people are aware of these things now, but there's still more need for education, which is why we're out here doing the work
Yeah.
that we're doing. Can you share a
I
little bit?
never, I never fail to get this question. Where do you get your protein?
I get it all the time. Yep. And then one time a family member was like, "Oh, you're vegan?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Where do you get your protein?" And so I told him, and then he was like, "Well, that's not real protein."
Yeah. What do you mean?
It
It's
is
like,
protein. It is no protein.
They don't know they're consuming secondary protein. We're getting it at the source.
Right, exactly. Not to mention all the other nutrients
Yeah.
that you can get by just eating the rainbow, right? Because plants have a lot of nutrients, and just hearing about it when I was listening to the How Not to Die audiobook,
Mhm.
everything we need is in plants.
Yeah.
And there are some supplements to take too, like B12 and
You
vitamin
have to
D.
supplement with B12 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and vitamin D. But the thing is, there's a lot of non-vegans as well who could be deficient in these things as well and not even know it, right? Because again, you could be an unhealthy person and be a
Yeah.
non-vegan, right? Like being a non-vegan is not the epitome of health, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
Right.
so I think that's a huge misconception. Um, so yeah, can you share a little bit more about the work that you're doing and how you're helping to spread this message and helping people with their health?
So, I after my experience with as a patient and as a former executive director with Ethos, I thought the best way to spread the word for me, because I am writing is my passion. So right now, and it's most accessible to me. So I try to write articles on food policy and
Hmm.
environmental justice, and because in my head, health and food and environment is all connected in one single piece. So I write, and I didn't um, I wasn't doing this before, but in this past year, I'm like, I'm just gonna make every effort to get published, and it's yielded some results. So I got published in the Philadelphia Inquirer and all of the things that you read in your intro of me, and I keep doing it over and over again. And uh, there seems to be a hunger of it, because I'm always surprised that someone says, "Yes, we want to publish you." So
That's wonderful.
I get encouraged by that. That's what I want to do, to spread the word about, mostly not just about being vegan, that's a large part of it, but uh I want to spread the message of how everything is connected. It's not be in like a siloed mode, like I'm just vegan, this is all I care about. If you have to care about the animals, the environment, health, public health, everything is health.
Yeah.
So and with that, so I was gonna say, after I met Dr. Weiss and my experiences there, I was inspired to write a book. So I wrote, over 5 years I finished writing this book, In Pursuit of Wellness, a patient's perspective. And I have book proposals out. I'm hoping I'll get it published soon. But it's done, and that's my way of spreading the word. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I was also inspired to go back to school and get a public health degree, because then I could possibly be in a space where I'm influencing food policy or health policy. Um, in the remaining years of my life, however many there are. Um, so yeah, that's basically the strategy. And I'm also I'm a national board certified coach. So I like to uh, help people with their dietary choices and the health choices they're making. Um, so yeah, those are the things. Those are the ways in which I hope to contribute.
You're doing a lot of wonderful work and it's so needed. The as many of us out there talking to people, connecting with people, planting these seeds, the
Yeah.
more this important information will spread. And I over the summer I watched the documentary They're Trying to Kill Us.
Mhm.
And have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is so disturbing
At so
how,
many levels. Yeah.
right, on so many levels, what's happening behind the curtain, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that documentary captures it so well. Like, so if you're watching this and you want to understand a little bit more, just how important the work that Pragya is working on doing, and go watch that documentary. You can watch it for free on Unchained TV. They have a lot of vegan documentaries on there for free. And I'm going to include the link to that below because I feel like that is such an important documentary just to kind of
Yeah.
raise that awareness on why the work that you're doing and why food policy is a very serious thing that needs to be addressed because it impacts us on so many levels.
Yeah. And also you mentioned planting seeds, and your show and Kimberly's show, we're all in the business of planting seeds because
Yeah,
that's what's going to bring results, because things move so slowly and they backslide so many times, like
yeah,
that restaurant 11 Madison now going
yes.
things, two steps forward, one step back. So as long as we're planting seeds, the seeds will create a
Hmm.
forest one day. So we have to keep doing it with diligence
Abs
as you are. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of businesses out there who are committed to being vegan and won't backslide. And the more of us that just support one another,
Yeah.
we can provide that strong foundation to help push things forward in the direction that they need to go. Um, Before I ask you where people can connect with you, what are some resources that you would like to recommend for anyone watching who is concerned about their health and they want to start taking better care of it by eating more plants?
Yeah, I think all of the one book that you mentioned by Dr. Greger, that's a must read. And
Yeah.
the book, the China study that T. Colin Campbell wrote so many years ago, is still a staple for every
Yeah.
bookshelf. Um, Dr. Furman's book, Dr. Neil Barnard, they've all written such amazing books on what's good for your health when you decide
Yeah.
to live this.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it's all science backed too.
it is.
This is real studies that have been done to validate why eating this way is so important for our health.
Yeah, and their research is solid. It's all
Yeah.
peer-reviewed research, and all of them include recipes in their book, which is awesome. And
Yeah,
also,
absolutely. And to add to that, yeah, like early on, the Forks Over Knives documentary was part of my journey. And you can watch it for free on YouTube. And that talks about the China study and that whole what was behind it. And it really, it really flips everything over what you grew up knowing, right? So, um,
it's a
definitely a good
theory
one to
that
watch.
cannot be ignored.
Right, right. Like, and I think that's like as vegans, right, with our health journey and then the other aspects of being vegan for, ethical reasons, you can't unknow something once you know it.
Yeah,
It's like the Matrix, right? You open up this new way of seeing things. You can't go back.
and yeah. And also, I just wanted to say people can also watch the Farm Days videos from 2023 and 2024, because we had so many amazing speakers and panel discussions
Oh,
on all
nice.
issues. So yeah,
Where is that? Is that on YouTube or is that on the Ethos Farm website?
there's a link to it under the events section of the
Okay.
Farm to Health website.
Okay, great. I'll include all of that in the notes below. Well, Pragya, I've really enjoyed chatting with you. I feel like I could chat with you for another few hours.
Yeah, we have so much in common. Yeah, I feel the same.
We do. I hope we can meet up at Ethos sometime. Um, but before we wrap up, what is the best way for people to connect with you?
People can find me on LinkedIn. Uh,
Okay.
and I have a newsletter there called the Stewardship Brief, which talks about the connections that I've been mentioning. We need to be stewards for the earth. And of course, my Substack blog, From Soil to Soul, which has some of the similar content. And then I'm on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Facebook, all of these places. So
Okay, great. And I'll include all the links as well below this video so you can easily find them and connect with Pragya. Well, thank you again for joining me. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope we get a chance to connect another time in the future. And I hope all of you watching take care, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye for now.